Hi. So I've had the GPD Win Max for around 2-3 days now. And to be honest, I've mainly been playing Civ 6, but this video is going to be benchmarking it, measuring its performance, seeing the FPS in around 8 games to find out how it performs overall. One thing I found was, it's definitely not pocketable, like, in any way at all. Like, this is an iPad base model 2018, and it's almost as big as it. It's basically a tablet and far chunkier, so yeah, definitely can't fit this in a pocket, which means, to be honest, it needs to have good gaming performance. First test I'm going to run is Cinebench, and this is while it's plugged in and on best performance in the settings, in the battery settings. So in terms of score, we get 1593, which isn't too bad, I guess. It puts it in the middle of an i5, an i7 4th generation and an i7 6th generation. I'm going to rerun the test without power and on the best battery life to see what happens next. Right, so there's no difference, like, at all. Okay, that's fine. So the normal score is around 1580. When I'm doing an average, I have sometimes gone in around 1550, so it kind of ranges from 1550 to 1600. Next, I think I'm going to run 3D Mark, which, to be honest, is probably way too much for this device, but it would just be fun to put it through its paces and yeah, see what it can do. Right, so we're running Time Spy right now, and I'm running it on better battery, on battery life, because I feel like that's what most people would want to do with the GPD Win. It's still portable, and I don't think you'd want to be playing this while plugged in. I don't think that's the point of a product like this. It's running it. It's quite laggy, but and I would capture this by screen software, but it breaks. I think, obviously, I can't record while doing it. The CPU can't actually handle that. Maybe if it was like a Ryzen or maybe the new Intels, but yeah. I'll cut forward to when this is finished, because this will probably take quite a while. Right, so the 3D Mark tests are finished. That took quite a while, to be honest with you. And we can see that in terms of temperature, the highest temperature seems to be around 80, 82, which isn't too bad, considering this is an Intel CPU and they tend to run quite toasty anyway. The CPU scores far better than a graphics score. Again, this is Intel Iris, so that's Ice Lake processor. It's not as good as probably their Xe graphics coming out right now on their Tiger Lake or AMD Ryzen 4000 series, but yeah, I didn't expect amazing results anyway. We could compare these results online, see what happens then. And we are better than 3% overall results. Okay, so we're in the low 5%, but we're better than 3% of people, which is okay, I guess. Our score's equivalent to an office laptop in 2020. Do you know what? That makes a lot of sense, actually. This is running an iGPU, and to be fair, it's probably much smaller than those office laptops, but probably more chunky. But yeah, I didn't expect much from this anyway, but that's interesting anyway. So now I'm going to be running some games from different genres. I'm not really an FPS gamer, but I'll include an FPS game to see as well. Okay, so this is the FPS game that I probably play the most. It's Battlefront 2. And it's running low graphics, low settings, I mean. Yeah, I'll see if I can play this. Yeah, so this is a low resolution scale, is around 80%, but the actual resolution is the same. 1280 by 800. As you can see, the FPS is around 40. I'm not detecting much lag. But again, that's because I think it's because I downgraded the resolution scale. If it was 100%, I don't think this would be as smooth. Yeah, not much lag. Let me see if I can get into some combat quickly. Yeah, not too bad. Definitely playable. I guess the point is you have to sacrifice a lot of graphical quality to play games here, which is fine for FPS games, especially if you've already played these FPS games on another console. It's not too big a deal to give up any graphic fidelity. I'm getting around 40 FPS. It's really smooth. I can't tell any... I mean, I normally play this kind of game at 144. But yeah, it's not too bad. Plus these are just AI, so they're... Oh, I say that as I die. Anyway, 40 FPS, yeah, not too bad. Now I'm running it on... So 1280 by 800, but 100% resolution scale. While running around, I don't see any... So this is actually really nice, actually. It doesn't look that bad at full resolution, even at low settings. But for modern games where you can decrease the resolution, I think you should keep the actual resolution, but make it render at 80% or something like that, because I'm pretty sure 30 FPS is quite low, and if I start shooting... No, actually it's not too terrible. Yeah, no, it's definitely playable. So yeah, low settings, Battlefront 2, not bad. I don't really play many other FPS games, so I'm not sure about the others, but they're probably okay as well at low settings. So probably going to test some more strategy-based games. Those are the kind of games that I normally play. And they're probably going to do much better anyway. Right, so this is Civ 6 on medium settings, MSA, so anti-aliasing at 4. And the FPS seems really low, but I'm not getting any noticeable lag while playing. Everything's quite smooth. I guess with 4XX games, 4K games, sorry, it's just, you don't really need to care about those things. So yeah, games like Stellaris, other strategy games you might want to play, they're probably okay to play. On reasonably high settings as well, these things don't really change much. Yeah, so Civ 6 is definitely playable, which is great, but then again, it's also playable on the iPad, so that's not the best indicator of game performance. But yeah, it's handled strategy games very well. I think it's been my primary use for this. Being able to play strategy games in bed as well, which is nice. And FPSs it does relatively well on. I think I'm going to test, probably not all 8 games, I think I'm going to test an RPG. Probably test Witcher. See what that's like. So this is Witcher 3. Everything's on low, but at 1280 by 800. And it's playable. The FPS is around 31 to 32. There's no noticeable lag right now. Then again, this is a more... Oh. Actually, no, there are some tips. I think the thing is, if this kind of thing, yeah, as soon as you go outside, the frames do kind of dip a bit. I'm seeing 24, yeah, okay. Worst comes to worst, I guess you just downgrade the resolution to something a bit lower, say 1280 by 768, or something like that, which is perfectly possible. Maybe try 1280 by 720. Yeah, seems smoother now, although the FPS seems the same. But it's not dipping as much. So yeah, you could definitely play Witcher 3 on this. Again, around 30, 20 to 30, but you can't see any noticeable lag. So yeah, it's compromised gaming, but you can still do it. Again, this is on better battery life. Maybe plugged in it would be better, but I mean on the go. I guess you need to compromise a tiny bit, but it's still doable. I think now I'm going to test two modern titles, namely Horizon Zero Dawn. Actually, yeah, let me just start that. I'm going to be testing Horizon Zero Dawn and maybe another game. Okay, so quick update on Horizon Zero Dawn. It's taking forever to load. It's on the SSD. It's still taking forever, and it probably won't actually run. But yeah, I'll see. Okay, so small update. Horizon Zero Dawn wouldn't start. It would keep crashing. I don't think this is powerful enough to play Horizon Zero Dawn. Maybe you can eke out some performance. Maybe a low spec gamer or something like that would find a way. So I thought I'd try Microsoft Flight Simulator because it's supposed to be like the new Crisis. It'll probably not run very well, I'm guessing. Might as well just do some flight training. Yeah. It most likely won't run very well. And you're only seeing 28 FPS because it's on the menu. It's probably going to slow down quite a bit. Right now it's all on low settings. At the full resolution 1280 by 800, but with 80% resolution rendering. Right, so... Oh, that's really weird. It keeps blacking out for some reason. It must have... Right, it must have still been loading. Oddly enough, you can actually play it. It's not that bad. At low settings, 80 resolution, 34 FPS. So I guess modern games that, like Battlefront, well, Battlefront's quite old, but like this, if they have resolution scaling, use it. Then you can play at 800p, which is the resolution of the screen. And it won't be too bad. Cool. Yeah, not terrible. Yeah, so I don't really play Microsoft Flight Simulator or any of those kind of games. It's just put it on there for testing. Overall, I'd say this is actually a really good console overall. if you don't mind compromising graphic fidelity for performance, which you're going to have to do with most FPSs, strategy games, they all run pretty well. And again, I've been running it on a better battery, so not on performance mode, but I just feel like that's what most people would want to play this on. You know, I want to see the, not its full extent, really, how it performs as a portable console. And it performs surprisingly well. I'd say the big thing is indie games and emulation. That's probably the best thing for this. You can play old AAA games, Witcher 3, I guess, Battlefront, probably Battlefield and Call of Duty, again with lower graphics. The included controller means that it's basically a portable console. And I think it works really well. And I think a lot of us probably have a lot of indie games from Epic Games giving out free indie games every week and humble bundles and stuff like that we can play. So this can probably play around like 80% of your library if you're willing to compromise on graphics for the more demanding games. But even, for example, Civ 6, I was running that on basically Ultra at the full resolution. So there are quite a few games that you could probably run quite well, especially amongst the indie games. Horizon Zero Dawn probably doesn't run at all, unfortunately, so I wouldn't get this for new games. In fact, I would say this shouldn't be a primary device. This is really more of like a tertiary, I wouldn't even say secondary, I'll say maybe even tertiary device to play games on the go. If you're kind of like a gaming fanatic, if you've got a massive library of indie games you want to start ticking off, this is probably one of the best devices to play it on, just because it's so easy to use. Also, the battery life is also always around 2 hours, 2 to 3 actually, when I'm playing on battery, on the better battery setting. And charging always takes around 2 hours, so it charges very fast, which is great. Yeah, so that's over. Those are the benchmarks overall. I think it's performed pretty well for what it does. I think the claims on the Indiegogo site are a bit overdone. I didn't really see the FPSs that they were getting on Witcher 3. But I'm sure, again, you can eke out performance if you really want to. But I'm just looking at it from a more of a casual viewpoint. Someone that's just picking it up and playing straight away. Anyway, that's going to conclude the benchmarking video. It genuinely took all day because of Horizon Zero Dawn, which turned out to not work in the end anyway. So, yeah. Okay, bye.